make sure that I'm the correct volume because whoever really knows. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I hope that you're having a good day. This is the second ASMR stream that I've ever done, and I still don't quite know how to do it, but I hope this is going to work out anyway. I decided this time we're going to do a story time, so I've got a bunch of like children's books essentially, and we're going to read some children's books. I don't have chat on screen because I didn't set up an overlay for this, and that's fine. So hello Turnip, Mr. Turnip, I saw you on the Dolce Discord, and hello Humble, and hello Bam. Hope you're having a good day. Here, let me get my water. Here, you want some gulps? Okay. I hope that the ASMR is working. Who knows? This mic is weird. Put my thing there. Okay. And I can always look up other children's stories as well. These are just ones that I had in my bookshelf here at my house. Okay. Let's see here, guys. Let's decide what book. We gotta wait for Kaya to get here as well, because that's very important. She's probably driving home or something. But we gotta decide which book we want. So we have The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. We've got Skippy John Jones and the Doghouse, which is from my childhood. We've got The Polar Express. We've got A Wish for Wings That Work, which I don't even remember what it's about, but it was in my bookshelf, and I remember reading it as a very small child. We have something called Kokopelli and the Butterfly, which I think was like a Native American story. And then we have some that we read last time. We've got Duck on a Bike and The Mitten, for those of you who weren't there for the last stream, so I could read those again. So, which one should we read, guys? So I'd like to know. Sneetches? Okay, I'll do Sneetches. Also, if you want me to say like anything in particular, I'll probably do it. So just let me know. Sorry, my throat got a little gravelly. Where do I put my, okay. I'll just have to put the books on my lap. There we go. We got 1 vote for Sneetches, 1 vote for Doghouse. We got 2 votes for Sneetches. I think. We'll do Sneetches first, and then we can do Doghouse. There's a few different stories in Sneetches, so we'll see which one we do. Okay. I gotta make sure that Kaya knows that we exist. There we go. It's very, very important. Okay. So what story within the Sneetches book should we do, guys? Because we have, let's see, we have the Sneetches, of course, and we have the Zacks, and I believe we have the Pair of Green Pants. I have no mouth and I must scream. So which one? We've got Sneetches, Zacks, and the Green Pants. Want to start from the beginning? Okay, we'll start with Sneetches then. We've got plenty of stories. Okay. Let me get my, I've got a thing. Okay. All right, enough of you. I need to add a thing real quick. Give me that audio output capture so that I can get a nice sound effect going. Come on. All right. Yep, through the Yeti, please. Okay. Oh, whoops. That wasn't that. That's not what I wanted. Where's my ASMR screen? There it is. New audio output capture through the Yeti. Okay. That's not loud. That could be very loud. Okay, audio output capture. All right. Let's get started then. Hope everyone's ready. Okay, page 1. And I wish I could show the images, but I don't have them, so that's fine. We'll just have to read them. If you want to look up the book, you can also read along with me. Hello, Kaya. We're gonna read Sneetches by Dr. Seuss, and that'll be the thing. Yeah, you didn't miss it. We're just starting now. Nothing has happened. Also, remember, if you want me to say anything specific, then I'll say it. All right, we're starting with Sneetches. And if you want to look up the book, it's literally just Sneetches by Dr. Seuss, so you can read along if you want to. You're like, Kaya had to work. Don't bully Kaya. Now the star-belly Sneetches had bellies with stars, and the plain-belly Sneetches had none upon thars. Those stars weren't so big. They were really so small. You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. Yes, hello, darling. But because they had stars, all the star-belly Sneetches would brag we're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches. With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. We'll have nothing to do with the plain-belly sort. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. When the star-belly children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You could only play if your bellies had stars, and the plain belly children had none upon theirs. All right. When the star-belly Sneetches had Frankfurter roasts, or picnics, or parties, or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the plain-belly Sneetches. They left them out cold in the dark on the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain-belly Sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. My friends, he announced, in a voice clear and keen, my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean. And I've heard of your troubles, I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that, I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you, I have what you need, my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed. Then quickly Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, you want stars like a star-bellied Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me the money and hop right aboard. So they climbed inside, and the big machine roared, and it clonked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burked, and it bopped them about, and the thing really worked. When the plain-bellied Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start, we're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties. Good grief, groans the one who had stars at the first. We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know, they all frowned, if which kind is what, or the other way around? Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who. That's perfectly true. Well, come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you, again, the best Sneetches on beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 eaches. Belly stars are no longer in style, said McBean. What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like Sneetches who have stars, who have them on theirs. And that handy machine, working very precisely, removed the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then with snoots in the air they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout. We know who is who, now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without. Then, of course, those with stars got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star was now frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, you can probably guess, things got into quite a horrible mess. All the rest of that day, on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches, off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced round and about again. Changing their stars every minute or two, they kept paying money and kept running through, until neither the plane nor the starbellies knew which one was that one with which one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went, and he laughed as he drove in his car on the beach. They will never learn. No, you can't teach a Sneetch. But McBean was quite wrong, I'm happy to say, that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. That day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs. There we go. That was the first story. I hope that was enjoyable. Okay. Just Googled Sneetches because I didn't know how they'd look. Yeah. Feel free to Google the things. That's probably a good idea, honestly. All right. Encore. It's nice. I think Daisy would be so good at bedtime stories for children. Maybe. All right. Do we want to continue with the Sneetches book, or do we want to move on to a different book? Because we've got many books, some of which I've read before. So we've got 2 more stories within Sneetches, and then we've got The Mitten and Duck on a Bike, like I read last time. We have Kokopelli and the Butterfly, which I don't remember anything about. A Wish for Wings That Work, that I only remember a little bit about. Polar Express, and Skippy John Jones. So what should we keep going with? Yeah, let me take a drink of water. I'll wait for anyone to chat. Sorry, I brushed the microphone. It's fine. All of it. Okay, we'll just continue with Sneetches then. Please stop sliding across my microphone and making noise. It's not what we want. Drinking ASMR? Yes. Apparently I'm pretty good at the drinking ASMR. Why do I not have OBS open on this screen? What am I doing? Get this. I've also got some pita chips here, so if we want any nice crunch, then that's a thing that we can do. Okay, I guess we'll do Zax's then. Here we go. All right, so everyone, this is the story of the Zax. All right. And if you want to look it up, it's Z-A-X, the Z-A-X. And that is the name of this story. So if you want to look up what it looks like. All right. One day, making tracks in the prairie of Prax, came a north-going Zax and a south-going Zax. And it happened that both of them came to a place where they bumped and they stood, foot to foot, face to face. "Look here now," the north-going Zax said, "I say. You're blocking my path. You're right in my way. I'm a north-going Zax, and I always go north. Get out of my way, and let me go forth." "Who's in whose way?" snapped the south-going Zax. "I always go south, making south-going tracks. And you're in my way, and I ask you to move and let me go south in my south-growing groove." Hello, Adam Norwood, and hello, Bella. Gay? A little bit, yeah. Sometimes. The north-going Zax puffed up his chest with pride. "I never," he said, "take a step to one side, and I'll prove to you that I won't change my ways. I'll keep standing here for 59 days. "And I'll prove to you," yelled the south-going Zax, "that I can stand here in the prairie of Prax for 59 years, for I live by my rule that I learned as a boy back in south-going school. Never budge, that's my rule, never budge in the least. Not an inch to the west, not an inch to the east. I'll stay here, not budging, I can and I will, if it makes you and me and the whole world stand still." Well, of course, the world didn't stand still. The world grew. In a couple of years, a new highway came through, and they built it right over those two stubborn Zax, and they built and left them right there, unbudged in their tracks. Oh, and that's it. Oh, there's too many Daves. I forgot about too many Daves. All right. So yeah, that was the Zax one. All right. Now we'll move on to Too Many Daves. Hope you all are ready for this. Too Many Daves has to be one of my favorites. All right. Did I ever tell you that Mrs. McCabe had 23 sons and she named them all Dave? Well, she did. No, it wasn't a smart thing to do. You see, when she wants one and calls out, "Yoo-hoo, come in the house, Dave," she doesn't get one. All 23 Daves come on the run. This makes things quite difficult at the McCaves, as you can imagine, with so many Daves. And often she wishes that when they were born, she had named one of them Bodkin Van Horn, and one of them Hoosfoos, and one of them Smim, and one of them Hotshot, and one Sunny Gin, and one of them Shadrach, and one of them Blinky, and one of them Stuffy, and one of them Stinky, another one Putt-Putt, another one Moonface, another one Marvin O'Gravel Balloonface, and one of them Ziggy, and one Soggy Muff, and one Buffalo Bill, and one Biffalo Buff, and one of them Sneepy, and one Weepy Weed, and one Paris Garters, and one Harris Tweed, and one of them Sir Michael Carmichael Zutt, and one of them Oliver Bolivar Butt, and one of them Zanzibar Buck McFate, but she didn't do it, and now it's too late. I'd like to say that naming your child Soggy Muff is a terrible idea. Sounds like Transformers names. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Also, the poor one pushed out 20 babies, and in the book, they all look to be about the same age, so seems pretty terrible, honestly. Seems like a horrible fate. All right, there's one more in Sneetches, and then we'll take a little break. I'll eat some food. I got some crunchiness. My brother named his firstborn son Atticus from To Kill a Mockingbird. That's fair. We had a snake named Atticus. I didn't choose that name because I hate that book, but that's fine. Soggy Muff, do we have a Soggy Muff here? Yeah. And the teacher calls out your name, and it's like, oh no. Okay. So this last one is called What Was I Scared Of? So if you want to look it up, it's What Was I Scared Of by Dr. Seuss. It's got a little yellow fella. A little yellow animal-looking dude. All right. Well, I was walking in the night, and I saw nothing scary, for I've never been afraid of anything. Not very. Then I was deep within the woods, when suddenly I spied them. I saw a pair of pale green pants with nobody inside them. I wasn't scared, but yet I stopped. What could those pants be there for? What? Where's the rhyme? I wasn't scared, but yet I stopped. What could those pants be there for? What could a pair of pants at night be standing in the air for? There we go. And then they moved, those empty pants. They kind of started jumping. And then my heart, I must admit, it kind of started pumping. And I got out fast as I could go, sir. I wasn't scared, but pants like that I did not care for, no, sir. After that, a week went by. Then one dark night in Greenwich, I had an errand there, had to fetch some Greenwich spinach. Well, I had fetched the spinach, and I was starting back through town, when those pants raced around the corner. They almost knocked me down. I lost my Greenwich spinach, but I didn't even care. I ran home, believe me, I really had a scare. Now, bicycles were never made for pale green pants to ride 'em, especially spooky pale green pants with nobody inside 'em. And the next night I was fishing for doubt trout on Rover River, and then those pants came rowing towards me, while I started to shiver. And by now I was so frightened that I'll tell you, but I hate to. I screamed and rode away. I lost my hook and line and bait too. I ran and found a brickle bush and hid myself away. I got brickles in my britches, but I stayed there anyway. I stayed there all night, the next night too. I'd be there still, no doubt, but I had to run an errand, so the next night I went out. I had to do an errand. I had to pick a peck of snide in a dark and gloomy snide field that was almost 9 miles wide. I said, I do not fear those pants with nobody inside them. I said and said and said those words. I said them, but I lied them. Then I reached inside a snide bush, and the next thing that I knew, I felt my hand touch someone, and I'll bet that you know who. There I was, caught in the snide, And in that dreadful place, those spooky empty pants and I were standing face to face. I yelled for help, I screamed, I shrieked, I howled, I yelled, I cried. Oh, save me from these pale green pants with nobody inside. But then a strange thing happened. Why, those pants began to cry. Those pants began to tremble. They were just as scared as I. I had never heard such whimpering, and I began to see that I was just as strange to them as they were strange to me. I put my arm around their waist and sat right down beside them. I calmed them down, poor empty pants with nobody inside them. And now we meet quite often, those empty pants and I. We never shake or tremble. We both smile and we say hi. There we go. That was Sneetches, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm gonna set the book down there on the ground. Take another drink of water while we take a little break. That is a book that I have had for years. My mom used to read it to me all the time. Damn, I'm a loud gulper apparently. It really picks it up. Mimster Sora? Mimster Sora. What did I just hear? You just heard gulping. Probably. That story was hella cute. Yeah, I love it so much. Alright. Well, don't make noise. Stop that. It's my mic is very sensitive, so it makes a lot of noise. Okay. You ready for some crunch? We got crunchy chips here. Yo, what's up, Warsaw? We got crunchy chips. Alright, let's see. Let's see how good this pick. Say the thing. Say the thing. What thing? Wait. The car thing? The car thing? What? I'm so confused. I don't know what you're talking about. But here, let me get here. Hope you like the crunch. It's quite loud. I'm reaching out to me. Don't leave me. I don't know what you're talking about. What car thing? What? Alright, here. We'll go over this one next time. Alright, listen, Warsaw. I know you're trying to like give me hints, but I'm dumb as frick. Okay, so I need you to give me a little bit more. I'm really stupid. I need a better place to put my water bottle. It makes too much noise over by my mic. Okay. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. You need to be a little more specific here. Here, you read this. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. All right. Okay. I'm not going to say that, Sora. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. Okay. We have a few more books now, so if any of you want to request a book or request anything, we have Skippy John Jones and Doghouse, Polar Express, A Wish for Wings That Work, Kokopelli and the Butterfly, and of course Duck on a Bike and The Mitten, which I read in my last ASMR stream, but I know some of you weren't there for that. So if anyone wants to request a specific book, then I can do that. And also, if anyone wants to request any like words or phrases for me to say, I will do that as well. I think I only know the one you read last time, or Polar Express, which was very like, alright, well, let's see. Where'd you even get these books? Dude, I've had them for years. I mean, these are books from my childhood, so I have them. Happy already that last darling made me spell my drink. Please say pretzel. Pretzel. Here, for Kaya. Darling. For Kaya. Alright. We're gonna do a wish for wings that work, I guess, maybe. Let's see. Is this one of the Christian stories from when I was a child? Those of you who don't know, I grew up in a very Christian household, so I have some Christian children's books, so I don't know. Can you say Tuesday? Yeah. Tuesday. There you go. Let's see. I don't know. It might be a Christian story, but that's fine. We're gonna read it anyway. I gotta take off the cover because it's noisy. I mean, listen. It makes noise. Alright. Say it again with a British accent. I don't have a British accent. I can't do accents. Believe me, you don't want that. Alright. Let me see. All men dream, but not equally. Okay. Alright. Well, it's Monday. It is Monday. Alright. So if any of you want to look it up, this book is called A Wish for Wings That Work. At least try. You don't want that. I promise you don't want that. I promise you want literally anything else than that. I assure you, this is not what you're looking for. Oh, I knocked my mic. Wait, can you... I can do that. Deus finally came back. I was only gone for like 3 days. Last week was weird. I'm rewarding you for waiting. I'm gonna cough. I'm sure that didn't sound good. Apologies. Alright, let's get started, shall we? A wish for wings that work. Okay. Excuse me, thank you. Don't die, I'm fine. I was just a little bit of crunchy that got stuck in my throat. Alright. It was a good morning to fly, even if it had come late and slow and so cold that a penguin feared his nose might freeze off and drop like one of the icicles hanging on his porch. Fly, Opus whispered to himself, as he ran on top of Duck's Breath Ridge at dawn to watch the snow ducks soar above. Fly, he whispered, as he lifted his wings and waited to be swept up beneath the fading Christmas moon with the other birds. And it was on mornings such as this that Opus's heart grew cold as his nose. A penguin can surely say the word fly, but he cannot do it. A bird with wings that don't work, Opus growled to himself. What good is that? What good am I? I might as well have been born a snail or a slice of Melba toast. One day, during lunch, he climbed the statue in the park and offered to share his last pickle with the pigeons, but they just rolled their eyeballs around and moved away. It's not our pleasure, they sniffed, to share pickles with birds whose wings do not work. If my wings will not lift me, I'll find something that does, thought Opus. He heard a man screaming on TV about a new product everyone should own called a flap-o-matic. Opus quickly ordered one. When it arrived, he put it together and hoped everything was right since the instructions were in a different language. Opus carried it up to Vulture Gorge, strapped it on, and wound up the rubber band, stepping to the edge. Opus looked down to the bottom 3 miles below. Yow, he gulped. He sighed, walked back home, and spent the rest of his day cooking anchovy Christmas cookies, which wasn't nearly as dangerous. The pages got stuck together. I gotta turn them. There we go. And then Opus knew what he should do. That night he sat in front of his warm fireplace, considered his words carefully, and wrote an important letter. Dear Santa Claus, In the past, I've asked for a scarf that would last. I wished for new skates or herring rum cakes. But since my wings sputter at those times they should flutter, I thought you should know I need wings that will go. After mailing his Christmas wish, Opus congratulated himself that a penguin could be so clever, and he immediately went up to Duck's Breath Ridge to practice takeoffs. Santa Claus will be bringing me new wings, announced Opus to the passing snow duck. I shall be flying on Christmas morning. Christmas Eve soon arrived. After leaving a note of welcome to Santa Claus at the fireplace, the penguin whose wings would not work tucked himself into bed, burrowed down deep in his thick quilt, curled up with his knees to his chin, scratched his nose one last time, and as a flock of snow ducks drifted silently across the full Christmas moon, he closed his eyes. Fly, Opus whispered to himself before falling asleep. I'll be flying on Christmas morning. And then he was snoring. Look, there, above the hills, above the clouds, a soft glow, growing brighter, closer. What was it? It was much too early for the sun. Maybe it was a duck with a flashlight. Listen, sleigh bells ringing. Ducks don't wear sleigh bells. Why, it was him, of course, and with the thunder of hooves, Father Christmas himself burst through the midnight clouds. On over the countryside, Santa's sleigh swooped and glided and zoomed and... Wait, there was a bump, a little thump. Probably just some bumpy air, or maybe not. Something was not right. A small piece of the harness had broken away, and the reindeer flew on, but Santa's sleigh plummeted like a meteor towards the lake. Hello, wake up, emergency, a voice hollered. Who's jumping on my bed? Asked Opus, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. A snow duck was holding a light right over Opus, looking very upset. Catastrophe, calamity, the duck hollered. A considerable setback. Please, follow me. Opus sighed and guessed that the milkman had slipped and gotten his head stuck in the porch railing again. He crawled out of bed and stumbled outside behind his midnight intruder. There, said the snow ducks, and they pointed towards the dark lake. They lifted the little penguin so he could see better. Opus could just make out something, a little lantern on the water. A big man with a white beard standing atop a sleigh that was teetering, rocking, and sinking. Opus gasped in horror. Down the snowy bank, Opus scampered, a flash of black and white as he hit the water. With a roar, a shimmering curtain of spray erupted behind the rushing missile. It held in the air for the longest of seconds, catching the moonlight before falling. Toad frogs leaped, catfish jumped, and Opus flew strong and fast through the icy water, a wonderful, roaring, graceful torpedo, sailing through the darkness. He was swimming, and swimming, after all, is what penguins do best. There, whispered a snow duck from the water's edge. Look there, he said, pointing now, for something was moving towards them. It was Opus, and he was pulling that great Christmas sled with all its toys through the freezing water with the reins of his teeth. There was a great sloshing, frothing, and laughing. Somebody was laughing. Out from the sleigh, with a deep voice of good cheer, drifted over the water. Ho, 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 it rumbled faintly. Opus stumbled, exhausted, onto the dock. His arms ached and it hurt to breathe. He noticed many eyes watching him, and he tried his best to straighten his soggy red bow tie. He had thought he had brought the sleigh safely to shore, and the reindeer were waiting there patiently. The large man in the red suit approached and grasped his hand, and shook it gently. Santa's wide pink face came down close, and his whiskers brushed Opus's ear. Opus noticed his kind eyes, one of which winked softly. I see no penguins here, Santa whispered, whose wings only sputter. Tonight it was courage that flew yours beyond others. He whirled with a snap of a whip and a hearty laugh, and he slayed up towards the stars. Opus awoke on Christmas morning and stumbled sleepily to the door, but he found something besides the morning paper outside. He rubbed his eyes in disbelief. There on his front porch and spreading across his lawn down the street were hundreds, maybe even thousands of smiling snow ducks. And each one of them wore a bright red bow tie. Two of the ducks took hold of his arms and led him outside, where, slowly at first, and then faster, they all began running and flapping their wings. What's going on? Said Opus, but he already knew, for his feet weren't on the ground anymore, or on the street, Over the street and above the houses, those ducks carried Opus until they were way, way above Duck's Breath Ridge. Down below, people looked up, and they could hear a voice somewhere above the clouds. It was a penguin whose wings don't work, laughing because he surely was flying on Christmas morning. All right, set that book down. There we go. Ooh. Oh, I like reading stories. This is nice. I might fall asleep, actually. It might be me. Okay. Stretch for a moment. Okay. Sorry. All right. Any other recommendations, anyone? Anything you want me to say, or shall I just continue on to the next book? I figure we'll leave the two that I read last time for the very end if I need them, because I may not even need to read them. I don't know. It isn't story time anymore. It's bedtime story since I somehow fell asleep. Well, you know what? I don't blame you. Say Kaya spreads. Yeah, Kaya spreads. What is wrong with you, Endless? You are a mystery. All right. Continue, of course. All right. I guess we will do Skippy John Jones then, which I don't remember much about. This book actually had a CD with it back when CDs still existed. That I would plug into my old jukebox, and it would play essentially an audiobook that I would read along with. So if any of you want to look up Skippy John Jones in the Doghouse by Judy Schatchner, then go ahead and you can read along with me. It might help it make a little bit more sense. Oh, it gives oh yeah, because it was partly like Spanish. I remember now. All right, so there's a little introduction of who exactly Skippy John Jones is at the beginning of the book. So here we go. All right. Skippy John Jones is a rambunctious kitty boy with very large ears and a gigantico imagination to match. He dreams of becoming El Skipito, his Zorro-like alter ego, which is really a chihuahua. Skipito gets to speak with a Spanish accent. He gets to wear a mask and a cape, and he gets to help out with his chihuahua friends down in Old Mexico by driving a scary monster called the Big Bobolito out of their doghouse. Welcome to the insanity that is this. All right, let's see. I do think that you should look up what Skippy John Jones looks like because he's adorable. Okay, here we go. Between the hours of 1 p.m. and 3 p.m., Skippy John Jones created his finest work of art ever. He went up and down and all around the newly painted hall and rubbed his mama's fur the wrong way. "Drop that crayon right now, Mr. Doodlepaws," commanded Mama Junebug Jones. "You're not the boss of me," said Skippy John Jones. "In your dreams, Mr. Beans," said Mama. "I cannot believe that in 2 quiet hours you covered the walls with those cockeyed chihuahuas," she scolded. "You are not a chihuahua. You're a naughty Siamese cat, and you need time out to think about that." The kitty boy did not budge. "But Junebug could be very persuasive. If you think more like a cat," said Mama. "Mama will catch you a mouse big and fat. I'll dip it in butter and roll it in cheese. And all you must do is think Siamese. And stay out of your closet, or you'll really be in the doghouse," she added, putting him into his room. He was thinking of bouncing. "Doghouse," repeated Skippy John Jones, beginning to bounce. First he bounced high, then he bounced low, pointing his rear to the chair down below. Everyone knows, from my big ears to my toes, I'm not a Siamese cat. I'm Skippy John Jones, a chihuahua to my bones. And that's what I think about that. But he missed the chair and went careening into a pile of stuffed animals. Holy jalapeno, screamed Skippy John Jones, pulling a bird from his ear. The little bird says there's a bobolito in the doghouse. Quicker than you can say Skippy John Jones, Skippy John Jones, Skippy John Jones, the kitty boy climbed into a mask and a cape. Then, using his best Spanish accent, he said, "There's a song?" Okay, here we go. You ready for this? We're singing a song, apparently. I forgot that this was even part of it. Okay. So he says, yes, and he began to sing. Oh, my name is Skipito Frisquito, and I heard from a little birdito that the doggies have fled from the gobbling head, goes by the name Bobolito. Down the hall, Mama and the girls squeezed together on the couch for a little TV. Can Skippy John Jones watch Quiz Kitties with us? Asked little Jilly Boo. Not right now, Pigeon Puff, answered Mama. Skipperdoodle still has some serious Siamese thinking to do. But Skippy John Jones was not thinking Siamese. He was thinking Chihuahua. Karaoke stream? I will do another karaoke stream at some point. Quiet as a cotton ball, Skipito rolled down his closet. He blew past a boulder, chugged up a hill, and arrived alongside a shack perched 2 bones shy to the end of the world. Did I miss? No, it's because he went into his closet. Yes, he rolled into his closet. Okay. It is I, Skipito Frisquito, the great sword fighter, and the great bumblito eater, the great fly defeater, the great spider biter, the greatest poco perito of all, said Skipito. Suddenly, a rope cut the air with a snapito and rolled around his paw. Whoa, said Skipito as he flew under the curtain and into the shack. The house was chock full of chihuahuas, and they were cavorting in the cupboards and splashing in the sink, and they were chilling in the ice cube trays and melting into drinks. And sitting right in the middle of the mayhem were his old amigos, los chimichangos. Hola, Skipito. Don Diego, the biggest of the small ones, grinned. We've been waiting for you, dude. What is this book? Si, Skipito, said Poquito Tito. Yesterday morning we left the house to buy some beans, and that night when we returned, a bobrito was in La Casa Perito. Not in the little doghouse, exclaimed Skipito. Uh-huh, said Poquito Tito. He's a fanatica and so dramatica, and he bobbles and nods an aratica. He must be a pain in the sciatica, said Skipito. He's a yes man, added Don Diego. And then all of the doggies nodded. Uh-huh. A jumborito pain, agreed Poco Dotito. And you are just what the dog tour ordered. Dog tour, not doctor. Dog tour. Oof. This made the pochitos feel so good they began to sing and dance. Do I really have to sing another song? I don't know. There's no melody written down. I don't know how to sing that song. We're skipping it. I don't know how to sing it. Is this a script of Red Dead Redemption? It is indeed. This is Red Dead Redemption 3, actually. I'm leaking it right now. I might get in trouble. All right. Enough of the monkey business, said Poquito Tito, as he pulled Skipito outside and over to a giant tortilla. Lie down and close your eyes, ordered Poquito Tito. ¿Por qué? Asked Skipito nervously. Because, dude, said Poquito Tito. At 5 o'clock, Abuelo Crispito will spill the frijoles. Not the beans again, said Skipito. What the heck is happening? I'm so confused. At Cinco Bells, the chihuahua, as old as Montezuma, popped out of the holy boulder and brought forth 3 beans. It's a 3-beaner, declared the perritos. And they rolled Skipito into a 3-bean burrito. Now we are sure to have good luck. What is happening? I'm so confused. And then the burrito was packed onto a skateboard with the rest of the puchitos, and together they rolled off the cliff into the Valley of Dogs. What? Los chimichangas and the burrito blew into the town of Pato Pato Ganso faster than a flea on a flying furball. To the right of the square stood La Casa Perito. Mira, Skipito, howled Don Diego. It's the nodding bobrito. It's up in the Attica. But Skipito was too scared to look. I want to see it. What does it look like? The Peritos did not give a hootito about Skipito's jitters. There's so many itos, I can't even. This is pain to my brain. Hello, Hisu. That's totally not Nem. I don't know who that is. With one big flourish, the Peritos rolled up the tortilla and tossed Kitty Boy and the beans up, up, up into the air until he landed on the roof of the doghouse. Go get him, Skipito, called the Puchitos. Oh, Mamarita, cried Skipito, catching a glimpse of the hulking shadow of the Bobrito. Oh, it's his mom. It's his mom coming to get angry at him. Oingy boingy bouncy pouncy, Skipito flashed his naughty monkey eyes. What? And lunged straight for the head of the Bobrito. Yee-haw-ito. I hate that, hollered Skipito as he took the ride of his life, and in no time flat, the kitty boy had brought the Bobrito down to his size. Faster than you could say chili-chewing chihuahuas, he grabbed the itty-bitty Bobrito and stuffed it into his pants. Skipito rode the railing all the way down to the front door. What is this? When he bounced into the goodnight air, landing in the middle of the fluffy white tortilla, Los Chimichongos rolled Skipito up snug as a bug and began to chant. What? Muchas gracias, Skipidipidango. What? There's no wonder this needed a frickin' CD. There's no melodies written down, so I don't know how to sing any of these things. And they carried the burrito all the way back to his room. With quiz goodies over, Mama Junebug directed her ears towards Skippy John Jones' very quiet room. Mused Mama. I wonder what he's up to. She told the girls to go and take a peek. He's all wrapped up in his old white blankie, said Jezebel. And he's talking to my itty-bitty kitty bobblehead, said Jujubee. And he's thinking Siamese, added Jillyboo. Oh, really? Asked Mama. Oh, he's such a little crumb cake. But Skippy John Jones was not thinking Siamese. He was still thinking Chihuahua. Do you like mice and beans? Skippy John Jones asked the bobblehead. He then touched the itty-bitty kitty's nose with the tip of his blanket, and the bobblehead nodded. Uh-huh. Me too, said Skippy John Jones. What did I just read? What? What was that? What the heck was that? What does any of this mean? I feel like I've just seen something that I wasn't supposed to see. I feel like I've transcended. Drugs, yeah. Okay, how long have I been streaming? About an hour? We can keep going. Let's keep going for a while. We've got time. All right, we've got 2 more books. We've got Kokopelli and the Butterfly and Polar Express, but I have more books that I could also do. Someone was on something writing that. Yeah, apparently. Okay. Which one should we do? Let's do Kokopelli and the Butterfly, because I actually don't remember anything about it. I believe that it is a Native American folktale, but I actually don't remember, like, at all. So we will see. I need a drink of water first, though. I'm getting a little thirsty from talking so much. That wasn't a very good gulp. Could have been better. Okay. All right. Is this book? Oh, there's like a folded page. Uh-oh. That's fine. No, it's still readable. Okay. Let me see. Book for adults and children alike. Okay. Here we go then. We shall start with Kokopelli and the Butterfly. All right. Daisy, can you say R? Yeah. I was waiting for it, honestly. Here we go. There you go. Hope that was good. If I disappear, I fell asleep. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Kokopelli was quite an interesting fellow. He was a wanderer by choice, delighting in the overwhelming beauty of nature that constantly surrounded him. Hundreds of years ago, most of the land was in its original state, untouched, and many times unseen by even a single human. Kokopelli loved to stroll through the green, misty forests and sunny, flower-speckled meadows, standing on towering coastal cliffs. He loved to listen to the thundering surf as it crashed on towering coastal cliffs. He loved to listen to the surf as it crashed on rocks below. He smiled and breathed the fresh, clean air and listened to various calls of the animals. He stood in awe of the majestic mountains above him, and then drank from the cold, clear streams. Because he was a gentle soul, Kokopelli lived in harmony with all the humans and animals he met. He never harmed animals, for he felt all living beings deserved love and respect. He taught every tribe to grow all the food they needed and to take care of Mother Earth in return. He showed them how to plant trees and replace the ones they cut down for their buildings and fires. He encouraged them to fertilize the land with any uneaten food, creating rich soil and strong future crops. He begged them to care for nearby lakes and streams, keeping them free of pollution, because he knew that water is one of the Earth's most precious resources. But most important, Kokopelli taught them to love one another, showing them how to settle disputes by talking them out peacefully rather than arguing and fighting. He taught the men of the tribes that he encountered to remake their weapons into tools so that they could never be used to harm another human again. Kokopelli generated more kindness than any person the tribe people had ever met. Kokopelli enjoyed his life of travel and adventure and acquired many skills over time. He was an incredible magician, could conjure spells and mystify his audience with amazing tricks. A wonderful musician as well. He played the pipes and drums with all his might and created more delightful music than 10 men could. He danced wildly, sometimes to convey a story, other times just to entertain his tribal friends. He danced to please the spirits in order to bring rain and to make crops grow and to make the sick become well again. With it, whatever the reason, it was always the most magnificent dance the tribes had ever seen. When Kokopelli sang, man and beast came from miles around to hear the fantastic music that echoed through the forests and canyons. Kokopelli reflected his inner happiness through his friendly eyes and radiant smile. Throughout his life, Kokopelli had met many wonderful women, but had never fallen in love. He knew instinctively that when he met the woman of his dreams, both of them would recognize their destiny in one magical moment. He looked forward to that day with excitement, as his special princess would be the one whom he could share his deepest hopes, dreams, and wondrous adventures with. She would laugh and cry with him in all the glory of life's amazing experiences. She would be a magnificent lady, and he could hardly wait until the day they would meet. One beautiful spring day, Kokopelli walked through the foothills of the vast mountain range he had been exploring the previous week. He saw wisps of smoke from tribal campfires, trailing skyward in the valley below. The surrounding forest was lush, green, full of gigantic trees and ferns. The forest was alive with the calls of animals, and as he strolled along, he soon found himself on a footpath that led to the tribe's camp. Kokopelli, like always, befriended the tribe because of his kind, caring ways. That night, Kokopelli helped the men and women of the camp with the preparation of a scrumptious meal. He shared exotic foods from faraway lands, and when the feast had ended, he put on a display of dancing, music, singing, storytelling, and magic. He watched as couples of the tribe danced with each other, smiling and holding their babies. They talked and laughed as stars brightened the moonless sky. It pleased Kokopelli to see his new friends so happy, snuggling by the campfire. It had been a great day, and after everyone had turned in for well-deserved sleep, he lay by the fire, staring up at the unbelievably clear sky. As he looked up at the millions of bright, twinkling stars, he thought about the lady of his dreams, wondering where she might be. Smiling, he imagined what she might be doing, what she looked like when she laughed, and how the soothing sound of her voice will softly drift him into a blissful slumber. As these heartwarming thoughts floated through his mind, Kokopelli fell asleep. Kokopelli was awakened in the cool morning by the laughter of the tribe's children as they splashed in the clear blue lake. Delicious breakfast smells from the camp's fires filled his nostrils as he stretched and yawned, a smile brightening his face as he watched the children play. The tribe was already very busy, and they had begun their daily chores and activities. He greeted his new friends with a hearty "good morning" and strolled along the lakeside. One of the young men of the tribe, with a bright grin, approached him and said, "Hello, Kokopelli. The chief requests your presence immediately. He has something wonderful he would like to show you." Sensing the excitement in the young man's voice, Kokopelli rushed over to the chief's hut. As Kokopelli approached, he saw a large crowd had gathered inside and was obviously waiting his arrival. He wondered what was causing this much excitement. As he drew nearer, the crowd parted, opening a path that led to the chief. The tribe's leader was proudly seated on a large bear-shaped throne, his face beaming. "Welcome, Kokopelli," the chief boomed. In a humble voice with a slight bow, Kokopelli replied, "Thank you, chief, for welcoming me into your beautiful village. Your hospitality is greatly appreciated, and has been such a nice experience getting to know your tribe. I was told you have something to show me." The chief smiled and nodded, glancing at an object illuminated by a beam of light that shined through a hole in the ceiling. The chief explained that in return for Kokopelli's kindness, the tribe wanted him to see their most prized possession. The object was concealed with an elaborately decorated deerskin cover. The crowd grew quiet as the chief slowly removed the shroud. He then displayed one of the most unusual objects that Kokopelli had ever seen. It was a small, ornate cage. The bars of the cage were constructed of animal bones and teeth, fastened together with small strips of leather. The bars had been patiently carved and dyed with bright colors. The cage was adorned with feathers of the forest birds. What Kokopelli saw next caused his mouth to drop open with surprise and sadness. Inside was the most breathtakingly beautiful creature he had ever seen. Kaya's inside this cage, guys. He was awestruck that something this splendid even existed on Earth, but it also saddened him because he could see that the animal inside was suffering, yet the people only cared about impressing Kokopelli. Inside the cage was a gorgeous butterfly with the largest and most delicate and colorful wings that Kokopelli had ever beheld, and he could see that it was dying. The butterfly's wings were like spun silk, shimmering with reds, blues, greens, violets, yellows, and every other color imaginable, marked by tiny speckles, stripes, and designs that Kokopelli had never seen before. The butterfly didn't move, except for a slight frightened shiver of its wings. As he moved his face to get a better look at the lovely butterfly, he could see the edges of its wings were tattered from flitting against the bars of the cage so long. The butterfly was very scared, and to Kokopelli it was obvious that it was nearing death from struggling to escape for so long. The powerful forces of nature had drawn it out toward the outside air, like a powerful moon pulling the oceans blue and deep. But the struggle against the caged bars had finally exhausted the butterfly, and it no longer had the strength to escape. Kokopelli's eyes filled with tears as he helplessly looked at the frightened butterfly. One of his eyes overflowed, and a large tear fell down his face and onto one of the wings. As it rolled down onto the butterfly wing, nobody but Kokopelli saw what happened next. Amazingly, the butterfly's colors brightened, and the wet trail left by the teardrop as it slowly flowed to the bottom of its wing. He saw the torn, uneven edge magically heal, and his eyes widened in disbelief. When the teardrop finally fell from the edge of the butterfly's wing, Kokopelli snapped out of the trance as he gazed upon the many faces surrounding him. Every member of the tribe stared at him, smiling, as if asking for his approval. Kokopelli's trembling hand slowly lifted the cage as his eye narrowed in grief. He ached with sadness because of the cruelty these people exhibited towards the butterfly. Through his tearful eyes, he looked at the people around him. The tribespeople saw this. The smiles on their face quickly changed to the expressions of confusion as they lowered their eyes from Kokopelli's gaze. "Shame on you, all of you," Kokopelli said, his voice barely a whisper. "This creature is no different than you or me. It needs to be free and loved. Can't you see you've almost killed it? Please let me release this butterfly back to nature where it belongs right now." His request deeply angered the chief, who loudly refused and ordered his men to seize Kokopelli and the butterfly. In this moment, Kokopelli knew what must be done. He was a peaceful man and therefore refused to fight. Kokopelli also knew that the butterfly might be harmed if they stayed. Being a magician, he conjured a spell, creating a huge plume of thick white smoke between the townspeople and himself. He did this only to distract the tribe as he quickly clutched the cage to his chest and disappeared in the confusion. He hoped that one day he could help the tribe understand his actions, and he called out over his shoulder as he ran. Kokopelli ran faster than he had ever run in his entire life, gently cradling the cage and the butterfly within. He ran so fast the forest trees began to blur in his vision. He ran like this for miles and miles, taking care not to upset the cage and its precious contents. Hours later, when he was far from the village and he was sure no one would be able to find them, Kokopelli slowed and finally stopped next to a babbling stream and placed the cage on a cool, flat rock. He moved cautiously so as not to scare the gentle butterfly, and slowly opened the cage. The butterfly did not appear frightened, but actually looked healthier and even more colorful as it slowly began to creep toward the door. Just then, something surprising began to happen. A female deer and her fawn approached the clearing, and the excited chatter of the forest birds quieted as the butterfly began to move. A few rabbits stopped their evening meal so they could get a glimpse, with a mother fox and her pups standing next to them. A wolf stepped aside to let a squirrel family see, and a moose stood proudly over a badger. He noticed a grizzly bear, shading a mother duck and her babies. A lynx squeezed in next to a boar to watch the occasion. Even fish jumped from the surface of the stream to look, while eagles perched above them for a better view. None of the animals minded when even the skunk and porcupine went into the clearing. There were wild horses, snakes, bats, frogs, geese, and dozens of other animals sitting peacefully together. Kokopelli intuitively knew that the animals must hold a special place in their heart for the butterfly. Kokopelli lowered his hand and opened the cage door, and the butterfly slowly stepped onto his finger. Its brilliant wings began to open and close repeatedly as it gained confidence. "Don't be afraid, beautiful butterfly. Nobody will hurt you anymore," Kokopelli said softly. The butterfly's wings began to open and close more quickly. As it crouched, Kokopelli smiled. He knew the butterfly wanted to fly. "Are you ready?" he said. With that, he stretched his hand skyward, and the butterfly flapped its large wings with great force, and its wings pulled it through the air. The butterfly released his hand from his hand and began to fly upward. Kokopelli and the animals watched as the butterfly flew higher and higher towards the setting sun. As it flew, its wings shed a shimmering rainbow of scales, as they instantly healed. The butterfly was even more lovely than before as its fresh colors reflected the orange light of the sunset. The beautiful rainbow created by its healing wings trailed behind it. Kokopelli and his animal friends watched quietly for some time as it flew towards the distant horizon. Kokopelli shed a tear of happiness, relieved that the precious butterfly was finally free, and also a bit sad because it was now so far away. He felt a magical bond had grown between them, and now the butterfly was gone. However, the butterfly was back in nature, healed and flying freely. And what mattered most, Kokopelli could tell, looking at the animals, were grateful to him. As if a spell was broken, the animals slowly returned to the forest, leaving Kokopelli behind with his thoughts. He sat on the rock for a while, reflecting on his amazing day, and watched the last of the breathtaking sunset alone. He was exhausted from the day's events, so he decided to make a camp right where he was. It was a warm night, and all he needed were a bed and the soft leaves of the forest floor. The soothing song of crickets and the babbling of the nearby stream relaxed him with their lullaby. Beneath a giant tree, he soon drifted to a sound sleep, comfortably nestled in the protective arms of Mother Earth. Early next morning, he was awakened by the excited calls of the forest animals. As he rubbed the sleep from his eyes, he looked up and saw that his animals' friends were gathering in the clearing. As he stood and brushed the leaves off himself, he saw that all the animals were looking in the same direction, away from Kokopelli. As he saw the object of their gaze, he couldn't believe his eyes. He was filled with wonderment at what stood before him. For standing in front of Kokopelli was a woman, but not just any woman. She was the most lovely woman that Kokopelli had ever seen. She stood frozen with shy admiration, but her loving eyes and warm smile immediately soothed him. When they gazed at each other, he noticed something familiar about the way the forest animals gathered. Smiling, he asked, "Who are you, fair lady?" Come closer, Kokopelli, and find out yourself, she said softly with a shy grin. Kokopelli's heart was pounding. How did she know his name? Don't you recognize me? She playfully asked. Should I? He replied, searching his memory. He couldn't believe if he didn't remember a woman as interesting as she. Yet something was curiously familiar about her. Please, come closer and take my hand, she said. He politely took her hand into his own and gently kissed it. He closed his eyes, and as he did this, when he opened, he was gazing directly into her eyes and smiled knowingly. The irises of her eyes glowed red, blue, green, violet, yellow, and all the colors in between, shimmering with unmatched radiance in the morning sun. Amazed, Kokopelli asked, You're the butterfly, aren't you? She smiled and nodded her head, her breathtaking eyes brilliant in the sun's warm glow. You broke a terrible spell when you released me from that cage, Kokopelli, she exclaimed. When I was a very little girl, I wandered away from my family and became lost. I spent a terribly frightening night in the woods alone. But I was found and raised peacefully over the years by the forest animals. They took turns nurturing me and protecting me, teaching me to love and respect all living things. Many years later, the chief of the tribe you ran from ordered and captured me when they saw me playfully wrestling with the wolf's brother and sisters. He became frightened, thinking only evil spirits could survive playing with wild animals. When they looked close at me, they became even more afraid because the color of my eyes was not like theirs. They thought I was an evil spirit because I looked and behaved differently. So the medicine man cast a spell and transformed me into a butterfly by changing me into the most delicate of the animals. They then felt that I could do no harm. I wish that I could have explained that I would never harm any man or animal, but I was not allowed the chance. I have been in the cage for many years when you found me. Thank you, Kokopelli, she said, with love in her voice and eyes. Kokopelli knew for the first time that he was in love, and although he didn't know her name, he felt that she could be the woman he had been thinking of for so long. He told her this, as a powerful feeling of love filled his heart. She felt the same way, and told him so. As he stared lovingly into her eyes, he asked, What is your name, beautiful butterfly? My name is Samsara, she replied. Her animal family loudly voiced their pleasure in the sound of her name. Samsara, Kokopelli said to himself. A nice warm feeling washed over him. He felt as if he had known this woman forever, and had hoped that he would. He had finally found the woman of his dreams. Destiny had brought them together, and her expression reflected his emotions. Where shall we go? He asked, eager to explore. When the time is right, only if you wish, we will go back one day and make peace with that tribe. We will bring them a gift to show them that you are not an evil spirit, but a caring woman who is friends with the animals, like me, he replied. Yes, Kokopelli, I would like that very much. But where shall we go now? She asked, smiling playfully. Well, around the world and back again, if that's all right with you, he said. She agreed happily, as she looked lovingly into his eyes. Kokopelli's heart leapt with joy when she looked at him, and he fell more deeply in love with this gentle woman every moment. They laughed and held hands as they walked into the forest. True to their word, Kokopelli and Samsara did go back and make peace with that tribe, and all was forgiven. And they did travel all over the world, growing their love for each other and spreading loving kindness to all the people they met. Kokopelli had finally found the princess, and he knew that they would live happily ever after. And just in case anyone missed the symbolism there, after he cried, it rained on this butterfly. It went and cast a rainbow throughout the sky. So I believe that it's actually the Native American folktale for why rainbows exist. So there we go. It has been a while since I've read that story. I need a drink of water. That one was long. Whew. Oh, I didn't gulp. Hold on, let me try again. There you go. All right. Is Kaya dead? Kaya might have passed out. That's fine. Oh, there she is. Thanks for that educational part. Yeah, I've had that book forever. Oh, man, this is making me sleepy. First time I heard this, well, I don't really see a reason why you would. It's kind of a Native American story, so even us Americans will sometimes not even know about it. Where do I sign up for the Deuce fan club? In the description, you can find my Twitter and my Discord. I would have my eyes closed, fair enough. Yeah, go to bed, Endless. Why are you always awake? Go to sleep. Yes, go to bed. Alright, good night, Endless. Alright, so what do you say we read the Polar Express next? This one's probably going to be the last story for today because I'm getting a little sleepy. Oh. This has been very relaxing. I've been, yeah. I have a comfy blanket and a plushie. I have some plushies on my bed. I don't have them with me, though. That's fine. All right. I'm in my car using my phone. Okay, well, I hope that the ASMR works well on your phone. You might want to get some headphones. But hello. Hello, Hayashi. We're gonna read another story. We're gonna read the Polar Express. All right. Good night, Endless. Sleep well. Sweet dreams. All right. The Polar Express. All right. Here we go. Let me get comfortable in my chair. All right. You guys can hear that. That's nice. That's my headphones bonking against this pop filter. I'm just gonna unscrew it. I'm just gonna remove the pop filter because it's making noise. It needs to be gone. There we go. That should be far less noise now. All right. Here we go. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear, the ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night I did hear sounds, but not of ringing bells. From outside came the sound of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. Watched the Polar Express when I was a kid. Yeah. Well, the movie is based on this book, and the movie is just Tom Hanks. The only actor. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest and then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and my robe and tiptoed downstairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Well, to the North Pole, of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. Christmas stories in August. Hey, listen, man. It's always Christmas. And I need another story. And who doesn't like the Polar Express? The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the light of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northwards. Soon, there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. What the heck was that? That's an old transition that I haven't used in 1,000 years. Not looking forward to Christmas? Why? Why are you not looking forward to Christmas? Oh, I was hitting the 0 button. That's what was happening. Okay, there we go. Let me move my keyboard away so that doesn't happen. We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon, but the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. Retail. Ah, fair enough. Well, don't worry. I'll get you a present, and it'll make it all better. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like lights of a strange ocean liner, sailing on the frozen sea. There, the conductor said, is the North Pole. Sounds like hell, yes. It is going to be, especially because all the restrictions will probably be lifted by then, so we'll be back in full force. Presents? Yes, I'll get you whatever present you want, Kaya. Anything at all for you. The North Pole is a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first we saw no elves. They're gathering in the center of the city, the conductor told us. That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. And who receives the first gift, we all asked. The conductor answered, he will choose one of you. It'll be Kaya. Kaya will get the first gift of Christmas because she deserves it. Look, shouted one of the children. The elves. Outside, we saw hundreds of elves. As our train grew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the conductor led us outside. We already have restrictions lifted. Oh, yeah, that's right. You live in a place that actually, cares about its people. Imagine. No, what if I was naughty? Oh, that's just more of a reason for me to give you a gift. I'm sorry. That was just, I said that before I thought about what I was saying, and it kind of caught me off guard. I caught myself off guard with that one. Wow. All right. We pressed through the cloud to the edge of a large open circle. Flirt SMR, yes, of course. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were so excited they pranced and paced, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound like nothing I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart as Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and pointed at me and said, "Let's have this fellow here." He jumped into the sleigh, and the conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee, and he asked, "Now what would you like for Christmas?" Bonk, go to Deuce dungeon. Nah, well, yeah, come to my dungeon. We'll see what we'll do down there. What is wrong with me? You can tell I've been hanging out with Midori too much. I knew that I could have any gift that I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one of the silver bells from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. He gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa, and he stood holding the bell high above him. He called out, "The first gift of Christmas." Bad influence. Maybe. I'm actually going to visit Midori soon. I'm going on vacation, and it's near where they live, so we're going to chill, and it'll be cool. Since we're both good at cooking, we're probably going to make food, and I'll make sure to send some videos of the food that we make, because that'll be cool. Do some dungeon ASMR, maybe one day. Maybe I'll do a dungeon ASMR with Midori while I'm visiting. Alright, a clock struck midnight. As the elves roared their approval, Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked the whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us and then disappeared into the dark, color sky. What the heck is dungeon ASMR? Oh, well, come and find out, ma'am. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said, but the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. That just sounds like porn. Hey, there's no porn if there's no nudity, okay? Or maybe it's just softcore at that point. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children and stood by the doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. What? I yelled out. He cupped his hands around his mouth. Merry Christmas, he shouted, and the Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. Ooh. Okay. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box beneath the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C. I shook the bell, and it made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father, "it's broken." When I'd shaken the bell, my parents had not heard a sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe. That's a classic, man. It's been a while since I've read that. I can't put that there. Oh, how long has this stream been going for? An hour and a half. All right. Any I bunked my mic. I'm sorry. Any recommendations, anyone? I'll do anything. Bum, 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 bum. Are they... All right. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Would you please read The Call of Cthulhu by Lovecraft? How long is that even? I do anything. Yes, I'll do anything. I'll do anything for you. How long is The Call of Cthulhu? Isn't that like a full-on book? Maybe I'll record an audiobook one day. Isn't it? Roughly 2 hours. I don't think I have 2 hours, man. I'm gonna be honest. Oh, I think I killed Kaya. Kaya, darling, I'd do anything for you. I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna end it. All right, here, let's, here, we'll do one thing by Lovecraft. Let's read Nemesis. All right. You should record an audiobook Sunday, maybe. I'll tell Harmony. Yeah, well, Harmony already knows that I'd do anything for her, so you don't scare me, cow. All right. Let's do Nemesis. Here we go. Nemesis by H.P. Lovecraft. Let me just stretch real quick. Okay. Through the ghoul-guarded gateways of slumber, past the wan-mooned abysses of night, I have lived all my lives without number. I have sounded all things with my sight, and I struggle and streak ere the daybreak, be driven to madness with fright. I have whirled with the earth at the dawning, when the sky was a vaporous flame. I have seen the dark universe yawning, where the black planets roll without aim, where they roll in their horror unheeded, without knowledge or luster or name. I had drifted o'er seas without ending, under sinister gray-clouded skies, that the many-forked lightning is rending, that resound with hysterical cries, with the moans of invisible demons, that out of the green waters rise. I have plunged like a deer through the arches of the hoary primordial grove, where the oaks feel a presence that marches and stalks where no spirit dares rove. And I flee from a thing that surrounds me and leers through dead branches above. I have stumbled by cave-ridden mountains that rise barren and bleak from the plain. I have drunk of the fog-fetid fountains that ooze down from the marsh and the main, and in hot cursed tarns I have seen things that I dare not gaze on again. I have scanned the vast ivy-clad palace, I have trod in its untenanted hall, where the moon writhing up from the valleys strews tapestried things on the wall, strange figures discordantly woven, I cannot endure to recall. I have peered from the casement in wonder at the moulding meadows around, at the many-roofed village laid under, and the curse of grave-girdled ground, and from rows of uncarven marble I listen intently for sound. I have haunted the tombs of the ages, I have flown on the pinions of fear, where the smoke-belching Erebus rages, where the yokels loom snow-clad and drear, and in realms where the sun of the desert consumes what it never can cheer. I was old when the pharaohs first mounted the jewel-decked throne by the Nile. I was old in those epics uncounted, when I and I only was vile, and man yet untainted and happy dwelt in bliss on the far Arctic Isle. Oh, great was the sin of my spirit, and great was the reach of its doom. Not the pity of heaven can cheer it, nor can respite be found in the tomb. Down in the infinite eons came beating the wings of unmerciful gloom. Through the ghoul-guarded gateways of slumber, past the one-mooned abysses of night, I have lived all my lives without number, I have sounded all things with my sight, and I struggle and shriek ere the daybreak, being driven to madness with light. Alright, I went away from the chat. I can see the chat now. Okay. I think we're going to bring this to a close. It's been rather short, but my voice is getting a little bit tired. If you can hear, it's a little gravelly. And I'm just getting a little sleepy myself, and I need to eat some real food rather than just crunchy chips. Ugh. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Yes, I will eat well and drink water. I know. You gotta take care of yourself too. Alright, so I'll see everyone later. There's a Discord down in the description. If you're not already there, go and check it out. I post cool stuff there all the time. I've been trying to revive it. You can also join my Minecraft server through it. There's also my Twitter and TikTok down there. TikTok's going to be getting a new video soon. There's a secret. TikTok's going to be getting a new video soon. It's not Genshin, but it is a new video. So go and check it out. And just as well, make sure if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like it. Like the video. Just helps me reach new people, you know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate every last one of you. You have no idea how much you guys mean to me. Like, it's really, I don't know, having frickin' 6 people watching my stream just at a time where I'm just talking. It's nice. It's not something that I really expected to ever happen. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. There's going to be some cool stuff going on this week. You can find my schedule in a moment. It's going to pop up. And it's also in my Discord. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And I will see all of you later. Goodbye.